feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all wanna ring, yeah, we all wanna be free. So show me what you got, what you bring, how you fight in the ring, how you take a fucking swing. Do you got heart, are you mean? Got some scars, got some needs, are you willing to go bleed? I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I swear to God they don't let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss. See, I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python. Grab what I like real fast, choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind, you know I'll always manifest it.
Hello and welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick, and man, I am exhausted today. I'm so tired. I am very, very, very tired. I had an aquatic therapy, physical therapy at the pool, and it kicked my butt today. It was like a whole hour of all different types of exercises and stuff in the pool. And let me tell you, when I say it kicks my butt, it kicks my butt. Like, when I got back home, I was so exhausted. I was so out of it. I was like, man, am I that out of shape? It's like, yeah, I am. I'm actually like been fighting a lot of different things and different problems health wise. And it's been a journey to be going through. And it's very unique, and I try to do my best to help myself, and sometimes my best is not enough, and it sucks sometimes because it's really painful, and I deal with a lot of pain every day, and it's a never ending story with me with pain. But I wanted to see this again because this is like my favorite video right now of all time. And I just want to play it for you guys because it is my favorite.
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
This is my favorite video.
They made the deal. They came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. When I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because the one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. That's my favorite video of all time. It's something that I'm gonna it's gonna be etched in my memories for the rest of my living days and beyond. For those who are watching in the future, thank you for watching. I truly appreciate it. I've done a lot of videos here on YouTube. Not very much popularity as far as like attendance goes, as far as viewership, but I'm doing my best, and I know in the future people will watch. And I don't get the recognition right now, but I will pass my days. I will pass my days. People will warn me and be like, damn, man, I should have been there. It's like, oh, well, you missed the ride. But it was one heck of a ride for sure. But I am really exhausted. I'm very tired. My neck and my back, my whole body, even my hips like really hurts. And I was like, man, this is painful. But I'm hoping, better days are coming. Hopefully soon. I know I got a couple appointments coming up. I got appointment with my doctor for my throat, for the cancer stuff, and I got my primary appointments coming up too, and then I have a neck surgeon appointment and a lot of appointments. Just a lot, just back to back to back to back to back. July is going to be so busy for me medically wise, but I do it just to prolong my life, to continue on with this journey. Um, and I would like to continue this journey to my last days. Um, our days are numbered no matter what. Like I said, death is going to be upon me, and it's going to be upon you too. It's just any day now. It's any day, because we don't know which day. That's the element of surprise of being alive, is that you don't know when you're going to go. You just don't know. You don't know when it's going to happen, and when it does happen, it's not like it's out of your hands. And not only it's out of your hands, but all your items that you own and everything that you have is out of your hands too, and it goes into other people's hands. So, and they will be opportunistic people that will come through and grab all your shit. Either someone will grab your stuff, or the dumpster will have all your stuff. And that's the part of life. Like, you're here now and your shit stays here. All your stuff you have, it stays here. You can't take it with you. That's one thing that's guaranteed. You cannot take nothing with you, because you came into this world with nothing, and you're going to go out with nothing. It's just the way of life. But let's catch up on some news that I have pulled up from earlier today. I have not seen yet, so I would like to watch together with you guys. Let me see here. There's I got a few up already, so let me set it up and let's watch. Because even Israel and Iran are both tired and exhausted. Man, that's the way I named the show. I'm exhausted. Like, if I'm exhausted, they're exhausted. That's the word of the day. Today's word of the day is exhausted. It's EXHAUSTED. Exhausted. Okay. Oh my god, I'm so tired. But not only that I'm tired, Israel and Iran are both tired, and I'm pretty sure Trump is fucking tired too. He's gonna take some time off and go play some golf. He's still got work to do. He needs to pass that big goal within a week. Is it going to make it to his desk by July 4th? Now, very dirty in Washington, and they're trying to discourage Trump from being successful. Give me one sec.
Oh, fake news CNN?
Fake news, CNN.
Here we go. Wait till you hear this question.
He said,
We say how great our soldiers and our warriors are.
I think everyone appreciates our soldiers and our warriors. I do have two questions for you, Mr. President. You just cited Israeli intelligence on these attacks. Earlier, you said U.S. intelligence was inconclusive. Are you relying on Israeli intelligence for your assessment of the impact of the strikes?
No, this is also Iran made the statement.
And it's also,
if you read the document that was given, that Pete can talk about if you'd like, the document said it could be very severe damage, but they didn't take that. They said it could be limited or it could be very severe. They really didn't know, other than to say it could be limited or it could be very, very severe. And you didn't choose to put that because it was very early after. Since then, we've collected additional intelligence. We've also spoken to people who have seen the site, and the site is obliterated. And we think everything nuclear is down there. They didn't take it out. Okay, question? Please, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, blue dress.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Yesterday, you said China can now continue to purchase oil from Iran.
Yeah.
Are you giving up on your maximum pressure campaign? Because there are sanctions right now.
With who?
On Iran.
No, look, they just had a war. The war was fought. They fought it bravely. I'm not giving up. They're in the oil business. I mean, I could stop it if I wanted. I could sell China the oil myself. I don't want to do that. They're going to need money to put that country back into shape. We want to see that happen. Would it? No. If they're going to sell oil, they're going to sell oil. We're not taking over the oil. We could have, you know. I used to say with Iraq, keep the oil. I could say it here too. We could have kept the oil. No, China is going to want to buy oil. They can buy it from us. They can buy it from other people. But you're going to have to put that country back into shape. It desperately needs money. Yeah.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please. Here we go. I'm picking the beauties today. Go ahead.
Mr. President, Secretary General Rutte has described President Putin as an adversary, a threat, an enemy. Do you view him the same way? And in addition to that, you mentioned General Kane, your chief of staff, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
General Kane.
Yes, he has said that Mr. Putin has territorial ambitions beyond Ukraine. Do you view that in the same way?
Possible. I mean, it's possible. I know one thing he'd like to settle. He'd like to get out of this thing. It's a mess for him. He called the other day. He said, can I help you with Iran? I said, no, you can help me with Russia. Pakistan.
He's such a
Kosovo,
boss.
Serbia. I think on Friday we have coming in, the Congo is coming in and Rwanda is coming in. That was a vicious war that went on, a machete war. Heads chopped off all over Africa. They're coming in. Nobody's ever done anything like this. No, I consider him a person that's, I think, been misguided. I'm very surprised, actually. I thought we would have had that settled easy. I've settled 4 of them in the meantime. But he did call up, and he said, you know, he's close to Iran. He'd like to help us get a settlement. I said, no, you help me get a settlement with Russia. And I think we're going to be doing that too. Yeah.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley
Trump
Earhart.
is a boss man for sure, man. He's the world's boss. He is the boss. He is the one. For some reason, the world has him as the one. Let's check this out.
Discussion about that leaked intel report about Operation Midnight Hammer that said that the strike only set back Iran's nuclear program by months. And he said that's not true. He believes that the nuclear program was set back by decades. He also said that there's a leak investigation with the FBI right now. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense,
really
confirmed
bad.
that. And they believe that leak was politically motivated. So let's bring back in Dr. Rebecca Grant to discuss all of what just transpired and all of what the president just said. He says that he's confident that the strike did the job of obliterating their nuclear facilities. Given the firepower that these weapons did have, Dr. Grant, I mean, we're talking about 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs. What do you think about that? Do you think that these facilities were effectively obliterated, as the president said?
Well, that was a full bomb damage assessment briefing. And first, I've got to say, NATO is thrilled with Trump's B-2 strike on Iran. They are thrilled. And what an honor for them to hear it kind of debrief there. Key points, high altitude strikes, 52,000 feet. Clearly, Natanz, the conversion facility where 2 MOPS hit, absolutely wiped out. And then at Fordow, it was an underground inferno caused by the 6 MOPS going into each of 2 aim points. Thank you, weaponeering officers at Whiteman Air Force Base, 509th Bomb Wing, whatever captains and majors you are that did that. You got it perfect. And that means that it is basically a burned out rubble. He talked about seeing the flares of that fire up around the surface. So much that he told us. And it really backs up his statement that that facility was obliterated and that Iran basically cannot enrich and continue with a weapons program at this point.
So cannot is one thing, don't want to is another thing. Yet the president did say a number of statements alluding to the fact that Iran doesn't want to keep enriching. He said the following: I think they've had it, not going to do it again. Last thing they want to do is enrich. They're not going to enrich. So basically reassurances that they are not going to build a bomb. What did you make of that?
That Iran was just shocked. Their leadership was just shocked and devastated by this B-2 attack. That they literally had no idea that the B-2s and American military power could do that to them. Now, are they still dangerous? Yes, and he alluded to that. They'll have their missiles. I hope they stop it with the terrorists. There's still an ideological, theological regime. There's still thugs. There's still a problem. But he has removed Iran as a nuclear threat. NATO is thrilled. You know, the missiles reach NATO. Iran's missiles can reach NATO. There's a whole Aegis Ashore facility in Poland that was built to counter the Iranian missile threat years ago. So this is it is a complete change. He has taken out an emergent nuclear power and the whole world is safer. And the NATO allies are really glad to have President Trump's leadership and glad to have that U.S. military leadership where it really brushes away the shadows of Afghanistan and so much else.
Yeah, and it seems like, Dr. Grant, that the president is getting heated about this leaked report because, like Defense Secretary Hegseth said, he believes that it's politically motivated. But also, it seems like the president feels like this reporting discredits the fighter pilots that completed this mission. And he has given them credit for doing just that. And then at the end of these remarks, what was brought up was the Gaza hostage situation, which is still ongoing. And he said that Steve Witkoff believes that a deal could be done very soon.
Yes. Well, remember, Iran was instrumental in the October 7th, 2023 attack. I think what we're hearing is President Trump believes that the U.S. now has the momentum in the Middle East. They've gotten rid of Iran, and he's hoping that momentum will carry through to getting Hamas to finally agree to the hostage releases and to that next phase of the ceasefire, and then hopefully to a redevelopment of and better future for the Gaza area.
Yeah, and Dr. Grant, I've been wondering that when the United States negotiates with Iran, which is something that will happen, could the Gaza hostages be a part of their negotiations with Iran going to Hamas and saying, you got to give up the hostages right now?
Oh, I would love to see that. So Hamas is so hard-headed, so difficult to predict. But you remember how President Trump would say, all hell will break loose. Well, now we've actually seen what that's like. And that strike on Iran also has to have an impact on Hamas.
Let's go back to the beginning of that press conference there with the Secretary General and our president. It was a question that I was planning on asking you, but the Secretary General answered it and answered it and answered it multiple times. The question was, does NATO reach that 5% threshold without Donald Trump? And you heard the Secretary General say, would not have happened without Donald Trump. Yeah. And then he said something else that I think may have gotten lost. And I want to get your thoughts on this part of it. The original thinking was that these NATO nations would increase their spending levels by 2030. That is less than 5 years away, but still a significant amount of time. And the Secretary General said, no, they're going to increase those levels this year. What did you make of that reassurance from him?
Stunning. And remember, Russia is producing 1,500 tanks a year, 3,000 armored vehicles a year, 250,000 artillery shells a month. Our NATO commits they will replace all the equipment they've lost in Ukraine. So NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte is absolutely right to say they've got to start that right away. I think that means that you'll see procurements and budget allocations and orders to the defense companies happening now.
It was a fascinating comments by President Trump, the NATO Secretary General, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. We thought it was just going to be a simple pull-aside and photo between President Trump and the NATO Secretary General, and we ended up getting a lot of information that we will be analyzing and discussing in the days to come. Dr. Rebecca Grant, thank you so much for joining us this morning to kick us off. We appreciate it.
Wow. Let's go to the next
We begin with this Fox News alert. President Trump just wrapping up that lengthy news conference in the Netherlands as he is ready to leave the NATO summit. And he will do so finding it to be different than when he found it. In 24 hours, the president launched America into the global spotlight with victories on multiple fronts. He brokered what could prove to be an historic ceasefire between Israel and Iran, and it is holding at this hour. And the president gave NATO nations a dose of reality, challenging each one to contribute more than double what they currently are for NATO military defense. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. Here is the president from moments ago.
And here's
We're going to talk to them
the medicine.
next week.
It's time to
with
smoke.
Iran. We may sign an agreement. I don't know. To me, I don't think it's that necessary. I mean, they had a war, they fought. Now they're going back to their world. We want no nuclear, but we destroyed the nuclear.
It smells so
It's
good.
destroyed. I said, Iran will not have
Time to light up.
nuclear. Well, we blew it up. It's blown up. To kingdom come, and so I don't feel very strongly about it.
The NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte
What words
texted
to
President
use.
Trump with praise for putting pressure on other member countries to boost their defense spending.
Kingdom come.
Here's what he said. You have driven us to a really, really important moment for America, Europe, and the world. You will achieve something no American president in decades could get done. Europe is going to pay in a big way, as they should, and it will be your win. Also applauded the president's actions with Iran. Still, sources are saying, with low confidence, that Iran's nuclear program might only be set back by months. Sources from a leak. The White House and the Pentagon pushed back hard on that leak. And the head of the world's nuclear watchdog signaled his agreement about what really is going on right now on the ground in Iran. Watch this.
I could agree in the sense that what we see is a very important degree of damage, although no one has been there inside to see. Of course, the conclusion is that the damage must be, very, very, very important. I think the nuclear program, the Iranian nuclear program, has been set back significantly.
He went on to say for years, brand new satellite imagery shows the damage to 3 Iranian nuclear sites the United States targeted in Operation Midnight Hammer. The pictures capture the precision and the
I still think they
depth
should have done more.
of the strikes, each one. Senior White House correspondent Peter
I still think they
Doocy
should
is
have
near
done
The Hague
more.
in
That's just me.
Netherlands
I'm
with
just
more.
saying.
Peter.
Harris, we can now report the FBI is investigating the leak of that Defense Intelligence Agency assessment.
Yeah, that person should be thrown in
low
jail.
confidence the Iranian nuclear program was only set back by a number of months. We're also hearing from the Israeli side. They're saying that they believe, their intel shows, that the Iranian nuclear program was rendered inoperable. Iran's foreign minister says the program was badly damaged. And President Trump just explained what he has seen that leads him to believe
They're admitting
that
it
none
has
of the
been badly
enriched
damaged.
uranium
They
actually left
were
Fordo
enriching
before the
uranium.
strikes.
They're admitting guilt.
No, we just the opposite. We think we hit them so hard and so fast they didn't get to move. And if you knew about that material, it's very hard and very dangerous to move. It's called, in many people, they call it dust, but it's very, very heavy. It's very, very hard to move. And they were way down, they're.
President Trump is also backing off his suggestion aboard Air Force One that he could soon abandon NATO's Article 5, the rule that requires all members to defend any member that gets attacked. And he thinks that after his strikes on Saturday and the fragile ceasefire that was negotiated afterwards, that there can be peace between Iran and Israel.
They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like 2 kids in a schoolyard. They fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easy to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language.
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while, you have to use a certain word.
The F-bomb.
And President Trump is now comparing the strikes that he ordered on Saturday in Iran to the strikes the U.S. carried out in World War II over Hiroshima and Nagasaki, because he sees all 3 of them as
I want to go to the Netherlands.
war in different ways.
I want to go visit my friend Mutang.
Peter Doocy, thank you very much. Republican Senator Ted Cruz of the great state of Texas, member of the Foreign Relations
And
Committee.
Maggie,
Great
too.
to see you
I like
today
to see Maggie.
on an important day for the country, for the president, with a lot of victories. First of all, let's start with the NATO summit and what pops to you as a huge moment.
Well, listen, I think the president has provided strong leadership for America and for the world. The last 4 years under Joe Biden, the world was in real jeopardy because we had a weak commander in chief. And when you have a president who our friends don't trust and our enemies don't fear, it makes the world much more dangerous. We've now returned to a world with a strong commander in chief in President Trump. Our friends and allies now are able to trust us, and our enemies fear him. And the difference of a strong America. NATO, the commitment in NATO we're seeing of European countries that they're going to step forward. Yep. They're going to invest more in their own defense. They're not simply going to rely on the United States and free ride. That doesn't happen without Donald J. Trump and his leadership. And that's really impactful. And I will tell you, President Trump went into that NATO meeting in a very strong position,
everybody want to talk to
the
him.
Saturday military strike on Iran, taking out their
they
nuclear weapons facility,
to
was
to
a spectacular success. It was
awesome,
brilliantly executed, and it was tremendously
great time to be alive.
in protecting not just our friend and ally Israel, but
Trump needs to watch his back,
America
though,
and keeping Americans safe.
There's people out there that
exactly
want
the job
to put
of the commander-in-chief, and I think President Trump had an incredible, decisive moment of leadership this weekend with great success for America.
And the ceasefire is holding still. Just real quickly, because I want to dig into this a little bit. So Iran has come out and said it was heavily damaged. So you've got that. You've got the leader of the United Nations coming out and saying, and he's not always a fan, obviously, but he's coming out and saying significant damage could take them years to rebound, that sort of thing. When you look at all of that and you hear about this leak, and that's where we started, what does that tell you behind the scenes in this country, what's going on?
Look, the leak itself, I don't know the motivations behind that leak. I find the leak highly dubious. At the end of the day, we dropped a total of 14
They need to start putting these people
Each one
in
of those
jail.
is 30,000 pounds of explosives. They do devastating
For leaking
damage.
information
They're
like that.
the biggest
I think should be,
non-nuclear bombs we
should be going to
have.
jail.
And that effect, on the face of it, is going to be devastating. They were precise. They hit their targets. And not only that, we had about 25 Tomahawk missiles as well. That combination, by almost any measure, would do devastating damage. Now, I'll tell you, in the Senate, we were supposed to have a classified briefing yesterday on the precise readout of the attack. That briefing got moved to later this week. So I have not yet attended the classified briefing, but I will this week. I'm sure we're going to ask in the classified setting, what do we know specifically about what was hit, what happened to the enriched uranium, what the state of the centrifuges
they come out like
is. I don't know the answers to those questions yet, but we will presumably find them all out as soon as we have the classified
very
briefing.
dangerous planes.
That's great information, because there was so much confusion yesterday about what was going on, and the left was decidedly playing politics with the moment. None of it was helpful. But we do know now there's a target for Thursday in terms of resuming that. So real quickly, talk to me about what's, foreign relations. Talk to me about what's possible as next steps in all of this.
Well, listen, I think eliminating Iran's nuclear weapon capability is massively important. In my view, the single most acute national security threat America faced is the threat of a nuclear Iran. I think China is the greatest long-term geopolitical threat. But in terms of an acute threat, the Ayatollah, when he chants death to America, I believe him. When he calls America the great
He's
Satan,
the leader.
I believe him. And one of the things really important
He's
for folks
the leader.
at home
That's
to
why
understand,
he's the leader of Iran.
this
Of course you
attack was
believe him.
about protecting America. There is a reason the Ayatollah was working on an ICBM program. ICBM, as you know, Harris, stands for Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. You do not need an ICBM for Iran to attack Israel. For Israel, they are lobbing in ballistic missiles, ordinary ballistic missiles. The only reason the Ayatollah wanted an ICBM was to be able to deliver a nuclear warhead to an American city and to detonate a nuclear warhead in the skies of New York or Washington, D.C. or Los Angeles. And what President Trump did this weekend is acted decisively to take out that capability. Americans are significantly safer because of the president's leadership, stopping Iran from getting nuclear weapons that could kill Americans.
Very true.
Senator Ted Cruz, great to have you in focus on such a critical day.
You have to play preventive war.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know,
Hey,
you're
everyone.
trying to prevent.
I'm Emily.
You have to prevent from things escalating and things getting out of hand. And one was Iran for decades and decades have chanted death to America and death to Israel, and they've been pretty wild, and with their epoxy wars and epoxy terrorist groups that they have, like Hamas and what's the other one? ISIS, and they have a whole bunch of groups. They have like 3 of them. The Houthis. They have my goodness. There's so many epoxies so all around that area in the Middle East that surround Saudi Arabia. You know, they're all surrounding Saudi Arabia in some form. But I'm not too worried about Saudi Arabia because Saudi Arabia is they getting, as long as they're not put in the spotlight, they're good. You know what I mean? And they've been a really good friend to the United States. Saudi Arabia has been a great friend to the United States. And Qatar is a good friend of the United States. And all that region in the Middle East, they are very good friends and respect, especially Donald Trump. They respect that man. You guys saw what they did for him when he first went over there for his first state travel. He went to the Middle East. He went and they treat him like a king. They had girls with their hairs rocking back and forth, and they were doing this dance, and they were all dancing and camels. I did a story on this. I showed you guys. We saw this like about what 3-4 weeks, about a month ago, that I showed you guys videos on this and how the world was accepting and respecting, and like they respect Trump. They love Trump. Trump, he's something about him. He has that aura. Is he like godlike? I wouldn't say godlike, but the man is special. The man he has like, for me to say that's a lot, because I'm a good like, I judge really good people. I'm a good energy reader, and I can read the room. I can read anyone, anywhere. You know, I'm very, very, very good. That's why I need Trump to hire me, man. I can't do too much. I could just relay what I feel and tell you what I feel, and I just think that Trump is in a good position. I just fear for his life. It just, how, and this is what came to my mind today. I was thinking, man, we're so lucky to have Trump. We're so lucky to have Trump because, a story like this has happened before, and we know what happened. And with John F. Kennedy being assassinated and us losing out on a great president really damaged America for, for a whole couple of decades. Like, what, 6 decades? And then Trump comes, and all I hear in my head is money, 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 money. That's the song that's just played in my head. But and that's like his little theme song, his little money, money, money. But I felt like, wow, like he avoided becoming JFK, and this is the results of what happened if JFK would have survived and not been like brutally sabotagedly internally been put out. The world would have been so different right now. But since we went on that time frame, that fabric in time, and everything that happened, it all happened because of that timeline that we're living in. And here comes this special individual named Trump, and he comes in and he rocks the world. He rocks the world even before becoming anything politically. And I remember back in 98, my aunt, and this is back in when I was in Philadelphia, I went to visit my family, my grandmother, my uncle in Philadelphia, and I was staying at my grandmother's house at her place, and my uncle was staying there. Like that dude, I don't know. He's that's my uncle. He's all right, but he's just he could have made so much better choices. But anyhow, um, he knows this too because I'll tell it to his face. I ain't scared of his ass. Because we're not that far different in age, anyways. Um, but I remember my aunt. She took me, like, she was asking me, "Hey, she's like, she wanted to take me out because she's been planning like the whole week to take me out, right?" And I was taking care of my grandmother, giving her insulin shots because I had to give it. Like, it gave my aunt so much time. Like, she was able to do so much because she always used to go and take care of my grandmother and be with my grandmother. So she didn't have like that time, like free time to go and do things. So when I was there and I came and I stayed for a good period of time, my aunt was like, she loved me. She was like, "Oh my God, Rick, you don't understand." I was like, "No, I get it. You're getting your shit done." I don't mind staying with grandma. She's like, I always have to poke her. I just feel bad, but she says I do a very good job. So she like, yeah, she loves how you do it. Like, it doesn't even, like, she doesn't even feel it when you do it. I was like, "Oh, that's good." She's like, "Hell yeah, that's good." Like, but it's like, you get your shit done, right? She's like, "Yeah, I'm running all over the place, but I want to take you out." I was like, "What do you mean you take me out?" It's like, yeah. I want to take you to Atlantic City. And I'm like, "Oh shit, for real?" I was like, what, 18 at the time? So it was like my first time going to Atlantic City. And she's like, "Yeah," and she's like, "I'm gonna take you somewhere, right? So I'm not gonna tell you until we leave, right?" So this was the day before. So this was it was a Thursday, and we went on Friday night, and we went to the Taj Mahal, Trump's Taj Mahal, because Trump owned that casino in Atlantic City. And I went for the first time to the Taj Mahal casino, and my aunt was like, "How you like it?" I was like, "I love it. This place is amazing. It was so beautiful, so grand. The rugs look, oh my God, that place was like, wow." It was wow. And my aunt's like, "Oh, and you know why I brought you here too?" I was like, "No, why?" She's like, "Oh, we're gonna go eat." I was like, "Oh shit, we're gonna go eat. Like, what are we eating?" Like, we're going to this all you can eat snow crabs. I love snow crabs. If you get a little more insight of what I really love snow crabs. It's such a delicious delicacy, and it was all you can eat at that time, and it wasn't that expensive. It was like a really good price. I think it was like, what, $16 or something at the casino. All you can eat snow crabs and a drink. I was like, "Man, this is great." Man, I kept on eating. Like, I remember the plates in front of me, and my aunt, they took a picture, and I was eating with my aunt, and I had food in my mouth, and my aunt was behind me, like, smiling, and they took a picture, and I have that picture. I have it. I have to bring it. Damn, I didn't know I was gonna talk about this story. I would have had the picture. I can receipts. Fuck that shit. Um, but I have it. I have it in storage. I have it storage, and maybe tomorrow I could show that picture. I just gotta find it. I know where it's at. I just gotta get it. Maybe I can show some of the Philadelphia. You guys are gonna laugh at my pictures. I tell you, you guys are gonna laugh. If you don't laugh, okay. If you laugh, you have to donate something to me. You gotta donate to my PayPal, my mind over your matter. um, yeah. You'll laugh. Trust me, I'm a joker. I like to joke around. I like to make people laugh, and I do some crazy shit to make people laugh. And you're like, Ray, for real? It's like I was always like that energy of trying to make people happy, you know, and yeah, it's like it brings me back memories, like back to Philadelphia and stay at my aunt's place. Like not my aunt. Yeah, I just stayed at my aunt's. One time I stayed over there. Um, I was so uncomfortable. I went to back to my grandma's. I went back to my grandma's. I'd say my grandma's like she had like it was more comfortable, and my grandma used to cook still. Like at that age, she was what? She was 90 something at that age. She was yeah, she was I know upper 80s, I think. I think it was like 88 or something. But she used to cook, man. She used to cook. Like I remember she made me a Philly cheesesteak. She made me a Philly cheesesteak. And my uncle, he worked at a factory that produces and packages the Philly cheesesteak, like the meat. And every now and then he would bring a box of meat, of the Philly cheesesteak meat. Yo, let me tell you that when he brought that box, because he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring you something today," because I just got there to Philadelphia, so they were all happy to see me, give me hugs, you know, and all the kisses from my grandmother. Say like I was the favorite one. As all of them, they think that they were a favorite. Nope, I was the favorite of my grandma, and she used to cook for me, and when she used to make me the Philly cheesesteak, oh my goodness, better than the fucking restaurant. Better than the restaurant. I don't know what she did or the seasoning that she used, because she like I wouldn't ghost her on, you know, seeing what she was doing. I wasn't shadowing her. I was in the other room talking with my uncle and stuff as she was preparing the food. But man, when she brought it out, I was like, "What the fuck? This is like a restaurant. This is restaurant quality. It was nice. It was full, man. It was like, and I ate it up, man, and that was so delicious. Oh, my grandmother, rest in peace. Um, I always think about you. Both of my grandmothers, my grandmother from up here in Connecticut, and my grandmother, well, my mother's side is the one in Connecticut, and then Connecticut, Puerto Rico, and because she spent like half her time Puerto Rico and up here between New York and Connecticut and Michigan. Those are like the three states, and Florida for a little bit, not too much, but yeah. Well, she passed away in Connecticut, and then my aunt, no, my grandmother from Philadelphia, she passed away in Philadelphia, but she was Puerto Rican also, um, but had like spent her life here in the United States, and she gave birth to my father in Philadelphia. So it's like interesting, like, you know, an history that I have. It's a, but my grandmother was awesome, man. If you guys would have met her, you would have said, "Wow, she's such a like pure joy." She loved going to church. Both of them loved going to church. And the only reason, well, my grandmother up here, she used to go to church, but I don't know which one she used to go to and so forth. But the one in Philadelphia, I know because my uncle, he's a pastor, he's a priest. I got a priest for an uncle. Yes. And she used to go to his church, and she used to go for everything like there, like studies and like like a whole bunch of stuff, man. My grandma was always at that church, and I hope they're doing good. I'm not too close with them, especially the priest, the uncle priest. Like, no, I'm not close to him or anything like that. It's just everyone has a busy life, right? And I don't want to be a wrench in people's life to, like, I don't into, like, I know my place, and I don't, if I don't want to go that direction, I'm not going that direction. I go another direction, you know. So I the energy was what guided me to where I'm at today. And I went to my uncle's church one time, and this is funny, right? They try to pass the bucket on me. I was like, "This is my uncle's church. What are you trying to get money off of me?" Like, "Unc, open up your wallet and throw some money then." Because don't throw that bucket over here. My grandma always put money. I said, "What are you doing? You ain't supposed to give him no money. He already has money, and he always comes over to eat. So why are you why are you giving him money? He should be giving you money. You should be keeping the bucket. When the bucket comes your way, just walk out. Just walk out." It's like payments made. Oh man. But and then my uncle, my other uncle, um Cheito, no, is nah, it's just thinking about it, it's just giving me all these names coming up, and it's just wild. The memories is just something that you could go back. It's like a library, you know, and then you pick out a book and in that time frame, and then you open up and then you see that what you went through and what you did, and that's astral projecting into the past, and picking out what you, it's like a video, it plays in your head. Everything that you did is recorded in your head. It's just how to process it. A lot of people don't know how to do that. You know, a lot of people forget what they did yesterday. A lot of people can't say what they did last week. Shit, I know I can't. Sometimes I can't. You know, I can admit that. Sometimes I take different medicines, and I have a TBI, so traumatic brain injury. So sometimes I forget things, but I remember things a lot too, because there's things I'll forget, but then I'll remember and I'll keep it and it'll stay in my mind. And once I'm refreshed, I see everything for how it is, and how it's like imprinted in my mind. But if people practice on like time jumping in your mind and picking up old history, like the old data that's in there, and just relive it in your mind, and just, if it makes you smile, that's cool. If it makes you piss, that's all right. You know, that you have a lot of memories, that it's just, this computer in here is the best computer. Is they try with technology to be as strong as our brains, but our brains is what bringing technology to where it's at today. So, and our brains are always functioning 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know, even when it's sleeping, it's on a mission. It's always on a mission. And sometimes they bring you these fantasy dreams, and they bring you all types of dreams, even the fluffy bumping dreams. Like, you wake up like, what the damn? I was just having fluffy bumping time with someone in my dream. Like, how the hell did that happen? Like, it's some weird shit. Like, but it happens. Your brain does that. There's a lot of people that wake up from their bed and their bed is wet. And we're not talking about sweat. We're talking about the juicy fruit that just comes out. So be careful. Um, but it's interesting, you know, how our brains, and by vision, and also by hearing and feeling the vibration, and just hearing it out, like in your mind, because you have that special little gift, and you have someone there that always speaks to you. It always speaks to you. There's that thing inside of you, and it tells you a lot of things. It makes you do things. It makes you make decisions, and sometimes it makes you second guess. You know, our brains are so unique that way. Yo, what's up, Josie? How you doing? Juicy fruit, yes. Yeah. I didn't want to go nasty. I didn't want to say like, you know, your bed's all wet because you just, you know, had a wild, freaky dream, and there you go. Have a great day. Like, no. Some people, it gets as bad as fire hoses, like all over the place, and it's like, yeah, it's a 3 alarm fire. Holy shit. Um, but juicy fruit. I come up with some shit all the time when I'm talking. I just it just happens that way. But I hope you're having a good night and you're having a good laugh and enjoying the stories. And we're going to be going back to the news in a moment because I got some more to show. We still got a few, and I have not seen them yet, so we have to watch it together. I'm just taking a smoke and enjoying some reminiscing of my grandmother from Philadelphia. I went to the stairs with the Rocky, the museum up there with the steps from Rocky. I ran those stairs. I have pictures from there, and I have pictures with my hands up in the air, like Rocky. I have them. I have them there. I just gotta come in show and tell. That's what I'm gonna name a show. I'm gonna name the show "Show and Tell," and we're gonna look at some pictures of my history of what I've been. The receipts. Bring the receipts. Hell yeah, the receipts are so cool. That's why I love receipts, because you could confirm and be like, "Yep, I did it. I did it." But that's a good movie, Dreamcatcher. Have you ever seen Dreamcatcher? It's a good movie. It's a good psychological movie. I love psychological movies. I'm like, oh, talking about psychological movies. I went last night to see 20 years later? No, I thought it was 20 days, 28 hours later, or 20 days later, or I forgot where they're at. 28 weeks later, and now they're at 28 years later. I saw the movie yesterday. Okay, visuals beautiful, landscape beautiful. Wherever they filmed this movie was really nice. Um, Pretty aggressive with the zombie stuff, and it gave me some anxiety in the movie, and it had some sadness to it with the mother and the son. It was sad, especially when, like, I don't want to spoil the movie. I don't know if you guys are gonna go watch it, but okay, fuck it. She dies, and she had cancer. She had really really bad cancer, and they're like, she wasn't gonna live. So she kind of like killed herself, um and they had like a sad moment. The son took her skull and put it on top of like a mountain of skulls, and he put the skull facing the sun, and it was so touching. It got like a little sad, but then towards the end, the end, it fucked me up. The end fucked my head up. In the beginning, it fucked my head up because with the Teletubbies, because I always thought that show was fucking weird to begin with. So it started off with the Teletubbies, and I'm like, am I in the right movie theater? Am I watching the right movie? like 28 years later, and I'm fucking watching Teletubbies on a television screen. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. That already fucked up my head. So I already knew this movie was gonna be like fucking with me. And then like the end. I don't know what movie that we crossed into. Did it have a crossover? Was it like Power Rangers slash I don't know. Like what's another group? Like I know the Power Rangers. They because they were all in different colors, and they were like killing the zombies and stuff. But it was really like gay. Like Rick spit it out. I was like, yeah, it was really gay. It was truly like the characteristics of the gentleman. He was very like gay like. Not in a bad way, but just he was gay like. It's just how I interpreted him. I guess his mannerism is what made me question. But like it was just weird the ending. And then it ends and I'm like, okay, so I watched 28 years later and now I gotta wait more years to find out why the fuck these Power Rangers came out at the end. I don't know. Help me make sense. I don't know. But I saw the movie yesterday and yeah. That's all I could say. Is like I didn't even come on last night because I was so tired and I already had done a show, so I just lay low and went to sleep and had my physical therapy this morning, and that really kicked my ass today. I was so exhausted when I got home, and I had to take a nap, and now I'm here, smoking too. Got some goodies. I went to the dispensary today, and I picked up 2 medications. I call them medications. They're medicine. For me, I treat them as medicine. They're drugs, but it's medicine. You know what I mean? It's like okay. So I picked up today. I picked up Northern Ice Flower and Ghost White. What names, right? And the one I'm smoking right now is the Northern Ice Flower. I'm like, not bad, not bad. I picked up 2 because 2 usually lasts me. If I do 2 shows a day, it lasts only 7 days. Because I smoke a joint during my show. So, what I do is per show is a joint. The shows before I used to smoke like 2-3 joints. I used to go crazy smoking. But now I just keep it to if I do a morning show, I'll have a smoke. And then if I do an evening show, I'll have another smoke. So each joint, I roll them up at 0.5 grams. And with bind to 3.5 grams, I get 7. I could roll up 7 joints per eighth. And I tend to buy 2/8 every time I go to the dispensary. So that's enough to make for 2 weeks will be 14 joints. Because you get 7 and 7, of course, it's 14. So technically, it should last me 14 days. But since I do a show in the morning and I do a show in the evening, and I don't do the show without smoking, yeah, because I get the best high when I'm talking and smoking and interacting with you guys. So there you go. I smoke every show. Candles are lit on every show. Comes out of my pocket. I need to find a sponsor for candles. But I get a good deal at it. I go to IKEA. IKEA has them at a 100 pack for $5. So 100 pack, right, for $5. So when I go there, I buy like 6 packs. I'll go and I'll buy 6 packs, and then that lasts me, um, per pack, will last me maybe. Damn, I gotta count. I know how many candles I have. But maybe that could be a game. Yeah, let's make it a game. Let's make it a game. Let me see something. Let me see how it looks if I. Give me 1 second. Let me see how it looks if I turn off the light real quick. Let's see how it looks. No, the camera doesn't want to work. There you go. So it looks a little weird when I turn off the lights, because I have the green screen on. So it looks a little weird. Weird. But we could change that. I can make it look nice. Give me 1 second. Let's change that background. Let's make it more black. It's more relaxing. Feels nice on the eyes too. I'm saying all black. So Josie, 28 years. Yeah, I want to watch. I'm a fan of those movies. Yeah, it's pretty good. But the end of the movie really fucked me up, Josie. I'm telling you, you're gonna laugh when you say. You're gonna remember of me when you see the ending of that movie. She's like, I'm gonna think of Rick. He's like, why Rick would say that? It's like, you're gonna think of me when I say like Power Rangers / Teletubby type of shit. It caught me off guard. I was like, what am I watching? I forgot what I was watching at the end. I got confused. I knew they were killing like zombies, but then I got like confused. It was just like weird. It was very weird. But let's keep on with the news. Let's keep up with some news here. Reporter remarks about death to America chants racist eyebrows. Let's check this out. I got like I said, I got 1, 2, maybe 4 more, and then I can wrap up the show. So let me get this all set up, and then let's bring it in.
The Department of Homeland Security has bumped up the number now, announcing the arrest of 17 illegal aliens from Iran.
Wow.
All
from Iran
within this week.
Oh, no
Officials
way.
are saying an Iranian national arrested in Texas yesterday.
Iranian nationalists here.
Like drug trafficking, conspiracy, intimidation, or force against a witness. Other Iranian aliens arrested on Monday had previous convictions such as assault with a deadly weapon, drug trafficking, sex offenses. The White House is reiterating that more than 1,500 Iranian nationals were released into the country during the Biden administration. Former DHS Secretary Jay Johnson says it's become a pressing security concern.
The presence in this country of undocumented migrants or Iranian nationals who have links to Hezbollah, IRGC, is, in my judgment, a domestic law enforcement concern of the highest magnitude. And sleepers don't necessarily follow the direction from their sponsors. Somebody who's here in the United States who has links to the IRGC, to Hezbollah, may decide to take matters into their own hands.
So just to clarify, 1,504 Iranians came across our border, and more than half of them were released into the country. We have no idea who they are, where they are. President Trump says radicalization has become widespread in Iran, and it's not uncommon to see protests with burning American flags and Death to America chants. But CNN's Aaron Burnett claims there's an element of friendliness despite them.
Are you kidding me?
I remember, Dan, at one point being in Tehran years ago, and they're chanting death to America all around me, even as I say, oh, I'm an American reporting for CNN, and they were happy to speak to me. So that those two is sort of jarring realities of the chant, and yet the friendliness have existed together.
Noah, do you think she knew what she was like comparing there?
No, she did not. So again, another one of the things to understand is who is the Islamic Republic of Iran? Who is that regime? And that regime, which I will separate from the Iranian people, from the Persian people, the Islamic Republic of Iran is occupying Iran. The Islamic Republic of Iran's entire organizing principle is to spread out Shia Islamist revolution around the world, across the Muslim world, and then across the entire world. That is their reason of being. So to think that they're not coming after the United States or Israel is absolutely ridiculous. When they say death to Israel, death to America, that's little Satan and big Satan. And that is what they intend to do in order for their version of the end of days, which I'm not going to get into right now. That is what they want to do. And we need to be very concerned about this. There is no doubt that there are sleeper cells, not just in America, but also in Europe and across the world. We've seen this throughout the years and decades. There's no doubt that they're doing this, trying to do this. And we have to be very vigilant and very careful that it doesn't happen again. But to say the death to America is a cute phrase is absolutely misguided and completely dangerous.
You know what we don't talk about, Emily? How Iran treats its women. I mean, this is a global cause right now. They want us to be those women and never become a situation where they're like us with freedom. So I don't know how the left gets away with never mentioning that when they purport to be the party of women.
Right. It's fascinating. And
Or
I think
women.
Right. And it underscores so many Iranians that are deeply resistant to the Islamic Republic, and yet, unlike here, cannot voice their opinion and do hold out hope for a potential regime change. Now, I know that our president has said that's not quite on the table right now, and obviously our role is containment and by no means further intervention. But the reality remains that an entire population of people are under a horrific thumb. And for it to be whitewashed by the left, I have to say this, that of the hundreds of individuals that were encountered at the southern border that were known or suspected terrorists under the prior administration, we don't know where many of them are.
That's
because
right.
we know of those encounters, for example, were all released, were some released? And the fact that the numbers are a little bit murky, at least to us, is so frightening because it's what we don't know. I think that poses the most problems at this moment. Now, obviously, at this point, DHS has a precautionary stance with those Iranians arrested. They're pursuing removal proceedings, right? Not, obviously, as you said, many are convicted of and charged with horrific crimes, but that's not quite being adjudicated right now. So the good news is I consider this more of like a house cleaning situation. But to your point, the threat is ever apparent. But finally, under this administration, we can sleep a little easier at night.
Last hour, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas joined me on the Faulkner Focus and spoke about the threat from Iran.
In my view, the single most acute national security threat America faced is the threat of a nuclear Iran. I think China is the greatest long-term geopolitical threat, but in terms of an acute threat, the Ayatollah, when he chants death to America, I believe him. When he calls America the great Satan, I believe him. And one of the things really important for folks at home to understand, this attack was about protecting America.
What's your thought?
Well, I don't sleep well at night because it's not just the Ayatollah that is saying this, it's people in the middle of the street. I mean, they've been calling for death to America. I've been seeing Hamas flags. I've seen Hezbollah flags of the Houthis as well. And people continue to say, oh, let's just
in
be
New York
loving, let's be
City.
loving. But the words have meaning. There was report and intel assessments that said at the Columbia protests, that they were coordinating with Hamas. We've heard that from some of the hostages. And it can't just be a law enforcement issue, because we've seen what happens when the federal agents start showing up to people's doorstep to remove national security threats. The protesters surround them,
right?
And the governors don't back them up. When cops call for backup, Federal agents. It took 30 minutes for the LAPD to come respond. When a cop gets on his radio and says, "Officer assist," we all know the rules. All lights and sirens show up.
Absolutely.
But in liberal cities, they say, "Oh, that's not the loving way." Their ignorance, their big hearts are going to get more Americans killed. I just hope that we do the right thing.
Molly.
Noah raised a great point about this being a global threat and the Intifada being a global threat. Just in May, the authorities in London arrested a number of Iranian men, believing that they were involved in a plot somewhere at an undisclosed location in London. So it's not just here in America where we're concerned about the sleeper cells. Jay Johnson, they're talking this morning about how they don't need someone to give go ahead, that they're ready and willing and perhaps have this ideology already within them to act by themselves. And I think you had a great point about the women in Iran. I've been thinking a lot about them and how they rose up in 1979 in the immediate days after everything that took over. If you go back and look at those pictures from International Women's Day and the immediate aftermath, they look like women on any street in America. And so that heart is still there. And so we have to wonder, and hope that they get their lives back and their ability to live freely. And we think about that too as well.
One last
thought. This is not just the threat that's across the pond. This week on Sunday, I went to the demonstration called Hands Off Iran right here on Columbus Circle. People were waving the flags of martyrdom all over. I was having a conversation with this. Explain to me about the flag. And he's like, if you're humiliated, you need to kill yourself. It's right here. It's right here in America.
It's evil.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual warfare.
It really is.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno.
That's wild. New York is wild, man. I don't want to go to New York City for a long time. Hell no, you will not catch me. First of all, like they're going through some crazy shit over there right now. So we're gonna just jump right to the crazy shit that's happening. Jason A put a video out, so I want to see that video and then show you the news on the mayoral race in New York City. Some crazy guy I think he has the lead or he won some contest. So now there's a face off for an election to have a new mayor. The guy he's freaking wild. But let's check out. Let me set it up and get Jason A up on here, and let's check out. It's crazy, man. This world's wild, man. We live in wild times, interesting times. Every day, it's always something. Just be happy that you're alive. Take care of yourself to the fullest. Look after your loved ones, and yeah, just keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you know your surroundings. Know your role. That's all. Know your role, and you'll be all right. And it's an interesting world. Let's check Jason A here.
Should Mamdani win, he would become the first Muslim mayor of New York. Analysts predict Jewish groups will rally against him in the general election.
Mamdani will get a Jewish vote, but it will not be a very singular and ideology Jewish vote. Younger people really don't care about the state of Israel. If you look at the data, younger Jews, they're more concerned about lifestyle issues.
I am Donald Trump's worst nightmare as a progressive Muslim immigrant who actually fights for the things that I believe in.
His win, a sign of Democratic voters' disillusionment with party establishment as they search for an alternative to Donald Trump.
And out east, a political earthquake of sorts last night in New York City as State Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani surged to a commanding lead in the Democratic primary for mayor.
That's right. Many observers had predicted an easy win for disgraced former governor Andrew Cuomo. Instead, he came in a distant second.
Now, this ain't death to America.
آژانس بین المللی انرژی اتمی نیز که حتی حاضر نشد در ظاهر هم که شده حمله به تأسیسات هستی ایران را محکوم کند اعتبار بین المللی خود را به حراج گذاشت و به همین دلیل سازمان انرژی اتمی ایران تا تضمین امنیت تأسیسات هسته‌ای همکاری خود با آژانس را تعلیق می‌کند و برنامه صلح‌آمیز هسته‌ای ایران با سرعت بیشتری به پیش خواهد رفت.
So they want to restart their nuclear power ambitions. Death to America. That's what they're chanting. How is this peaceful? Now death to Israel. So weird. This is Iran. So it's not really like safe to go out there in Iran.
Zohran Mamdani entered the New York mayoral race as a relatively unknown state lawmaker. His victory in the Democratic primary, a huge shock to the party establishment.
Tonight,
weird.
We made history. In the words of Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it is done.
The 33-year-old Democratic Socialist platform tapped into voters' concerns about the high cost of living in New York. But he also criticized Israel.
Would Mayor Mamdani welcome Benjamin Netanyahu to the city?
No, as mayor, New York City would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu.
And stood up for Palestinian rights, his language angering powerful Jewish groups.
On the Republican side, Curtis Sliwa, who ran unopposed, outlined his vision for the next 4 years.
Ever since we went back to the trifecta of Democrats, de Blasio, Cuomo, Adams, we've had corruption and chaos. It's time to return back on track to where we have peace.
Mayor Adams, who was running as an independent in November, chimed in on the preliminary results, posting in part on X, "What New York City deserves is a mayor who's proud to run on his record, not one who ran from his record or one who has no record."
Damn.
And both Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez endorsed Mamdani during the primaries and congratulated him last night.
Wow.
The U.S. has destroyed Iran's
AOC,
nuclear
of
facility,
course.
and the president has been clear for a very long time that Iran cannot hold a nuclear weapon. But according to MSNBC, when Iran chants "Death to America," oh well, they don't really mean it.
Why is it a foundational issue for Trump that Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon? Why is this something that the U.S. should be involved in? Why are we allied with Israel?
He says because they chant "Death to America."
They chant "Death to America." I went to Iran in 2014. I was sitting at a rally. These young guys were chanting "Death to America." I had a minder. I said, "What are they saying?" They're saying "Death to America." They finished the chant, and two young men came over and said, "Are you American?" I said, "Yes." "We want to welcome you to our country. We love American culture and love American movies." They wanted to talk about all these things. Iran is the most Western nation in the whole Middle East.
And Margaret Brennan, host of CBS News' Face the Nation, had to be reminded by Marco Rubio of why Iran could not hold nuclear weapons, and the fact that the regime had everything they needed to was enough to justify the strike.
Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I think that question being asked in the media, that's an irrelevant question.
No,
They have
that is the
everything they need
key
to build a
point in
weapon.
U.S. intelligence assessment. You know
No,
that.
it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
The political decision had not
I know
been
that better
made.
than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But
You don't
I'm
know-
asking
you
you
don't
whether
know
the
what
order
you're
was
talking about.
given.
And the people who say that, it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain, 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury why do they have 60% enriched uranium? You don't need 60% enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons.
Marco Rubio reminding CBS of what is relevant. But the New York Times, well, they might deserve some credit here. Let me know what you think. New York Times has been covering the most critical parts of America's historic strike on Iran's nuclear sites, reporting on Pete Hegseth's briefing. The New York Times journalist wrote, in the briefing, Hegseth referred to B-2 pilots as our boys on those bombers, yet both men and women have been trained to fly them. Well done, New York Times. Excellent point that both men and women can fly planes. But it was LA Sheriff's Department's post that really takes the cake. The LA Sheriff's Department posted condolences to families in Iran who were, quote, impacted by Iran's nuclear sites getting blown up. In a shared post, they say, our hearts go out to the victims and the families impacted by the recent bombing in Iran, the bombing that did not hurt anyone. This post has now been edited and deleting the condolences. And then there's a host of The View, Joy Behar, seriously questioned why Donald Trump didn't tell the Iranians he was going to bomb their nuclear sites.
Did he keep it a secret for the surprise? The surprise version?
I mean, absolutely the diversion, and you saw the way that the all indications were the B-2s were flying towards Guam. Everybody thought, okay, so we're getting in position to be ready. They wanted to have some element of surprise. Let's face it, there wasn't really much element of surprise. I mean, this had been in the works for a long time.
They're not saying why the reason the B-2 bombers were at Guam.
A surprise.
They're not saying why. I know why. I'm an energy reader. I'm a psychic. I love stuff like this because it just comes to my mind. The reason why they went to Guam is, listen, we're playing chess here, okay? And the only reason why is because of China and the aggression coming from that side of the world. And they wanted the B-2 bombers to be there and having them like, okay, now fuck around and find out. So they blitzed, they faked out the media because the media is so stupid. You know, this is what proves it. Trump knows this. He's like, yeah, we did this to prove to the world, the media, you can't fucking trust the media. Like, they don't know shit. They only go on assumptions. Like, they're only going on assumptions and not the damn truth. And they went over and attacked Iran, and not really attacked Iran. They attacked the nuclear facility. And 30 Tomahawk missiles, coming from the submarines. One of the submarines, Trump said that it was like over 400 miles away. I think Trump had mentioned that the one that threw the most of the Tomahawk missiles out of all the submarines, this one was more than 400 miles away and hit every target perfect. Right where they want it, that's where it landed. With an error of 1 foot. 1 foot error. You know what's 1 foot? 12 inches. That's like but I'm a size 12. There you go. My feet are size 12. Oh, the train of truth is here. But it's gonna be interesting. This guy right here, so it's gonna make it interesting. Let me set it up. Give me 1 sec. Let me set you up. Okay, so we're gonna watch one more news. And then I think I got one more. And then that's about it. It's going to be a short show. Not too long. I want to keep it 2 hours if possible. I already smoked my joint, so I'm done with that. But let's check this one out.
We are
start back with a Fox News alert. Socialist Zohran Mamdani declaring victory as the new Democrat nominee for New York City mayor after former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo concedes.
Tonight was Assemblyman Mamdani's night, and he put together a great campaign, and he touched young people and inspired them. I called him, I congratulated him, I applaud him sincerely for his effort.
In a speech to supporters, Mamdani laying out his vision for the city.
We have won because New Yorkers have stood up for a city they can afford.
Well, I tell you right now, you're gonna have problems with immigration.
And it's where the
And if you don't work with ICE,
use their
you're gonna be in problems,
to
and you're gonna
reject
be in
Donald
jail.
Trump's fascism, to stop mass ICE agents from deporting our neighbors, and to govern our city as a model for the Democratic Party.
The primary now heads to a ranked choice count beginning next Tuesday after no Democrat got the majority of the vote. Carly.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's bring in New York City business owner Richie Romero to react to this. What was your initial reaction when you heard about this victory?
Honestly, I didn't sleep because I had to talk a lot of people off ledges last night that were calling me nonstop, moving out of New York, et cetera.
Really? What were they saying to you?
They're in fear of, what's going to happen with the economy and everything. I look at it, we got to see what's going on with the general election, but it really comes down to it is we need a mayor that's going to reinvigorate the economy and have common sense, and he just doesn't have common sense policies.
So you don't see Mamdani as a pro-business candidate, and you're not the only one. Take a look at this Free Press headline. It says business leaders say they'll flee New York City if Mamdani wins. Bill Ackman says it only takes a handful of successful people to leave to decimate the city's tax base. And this is an ex post from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who said, just when you thought Palm Beach real estate couldn't go any higher. That's his reaction to Mamdani being up in the polls before he won, which he did. And this is because Mamdani right now plans to raise the corporate tax rate from 7% to 11.5%. How does that sound to you?
It's awful. What do you think is going to happen? Everyone could easily relocate now. People aren't in offices. We need to do a marketing campaign in general in New York just to get the skyscrapers filled with office businesses in here. So who's going to pay for all these things he wants to do with all these freebies?
Yeah, well, I love the businesses that you run in New York City. You have a bakery that I used to go to all the time, and it shut down. Is that because it is so difficult to run a business in New York City?
It is. And that's one thing that he keeps bringing up, that, we could have these dollar stores and do all these things. You can't. It's simple economics of supply and demand. You can't pay $30 minimum wage and then want to do dollar pizzas and have business run. If you, in 1 hour, you have to sell 30 slices of pizza, you're not paying for it. It's just simple economics.
So I see your I Love New York t-shirt. You clearly love New York in the city. What would you like to see take place?
Listen, I have a very simple thing to how to make New York work. It's the biggest problem is he won mainly through TikTok. And you got to realize most people, responsibility makes you mature, not age. And he's letting people just they want the freebies instead of really wanting to be a mayor should be like an expediter of dreams and break through it. And we have to break all this red tape that's in New York. Even all the different things from DOH, people waiting for Con Ed, from DOB and everything. They're all on different tech platforms that don't even talk to each other. And the biggest thing that we need is, and that's why I'm wearing the I Love New York, is we need a real marketing campaign for New York. We need trade shows in Javits Center. You got to realize, even the International Pizza Conventions in Vegas, we did a restaurant convention. They had it in Javits. It was only 2,500, 3,000 people, 50,000 in Chicago. We need that. We need businesses in the trade and all the skyscrapers.
Well, clearly you're very passionate about this issue. I mean, this is a stunning swing to the left after the general election where the country said that they were going more to the right. You were up all night talking people off the ledge because of this win. Hopefully you can get some rest because there still is the general election in November.
Yeah,
Richie,
the general.
Romero, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Carl.
All right.
I'm Steve
Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox
This
News
election was
YouTube
like a
page.
primary election to go into the general election. The general election, that's in November. And just weird times, man. Just very, very weird times we're living in. Okay, so I got this. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if my boy Tyson came out with anything. Let me let's put this video on now, and then I'm gonna see if Tyson put out anything yet. Tyson de la Cruz. I'll put up his video. Give me 1 sec. Let's watch this one while I go check. Come on, girl.
Levitt for more on all of this. So the president really went off in The Hague in his news conference on reporting that these strikes may not have done the job here in Iran at the Fordo nuclear facility and others as well. He also took aim at the outlets that were reporting this. Listen here.
They said it could be limited or it could be very severe. They really didn't know, other than to say it could be limited or it could be very, very severe. And you didn't choose to put that because it was very early after. Since then, we've collected additional intelligence. We've also spoken to people who have seen the site, and the site is obliterated. And we think everything nuclear is down there. They didn't take it out.
So this is a report from the DIA that Fox has confirmed. It was, quote, preliminary and expressed low confidence in the findings. And yet it was all over the news yesterday. It was all the headlines yesterday. What do you say in response?
That's right, John. And President Trump is absolutely right. And he returns to Washington today after a historic NATO summit where he has gotten our NATO allies to finally pay their fair share thanks to his strong leadership on the world stage. And I'd like to take a step back and just acknowledge the history that has been made in the course of the last week thanks to President Trump's strength. 5 days ago, the rogue Iranian regime possessed the capability to create a nuclear weapon that threatened the United States, the state of Israel, and the entire world. And presidents for decades have said, dating back to Bill Clinton, that Iran cannot possess a nuclear weapon. And because of the decisive leadership of President Trump and the skill and the excellence of our United States military, that imminent threat to the United States and the world has been demolished because of this successful operation on Saturday night. And not only that, but within the span of 48 hours, President Trump was able to turn around and negotiate a successful ceasefire between Israel and Iran, ending this war after just 12 days. No other president in history could have ever dreamed of such a success. And that's exactly why the fake news media is now trying to demean and undermine the president. And we've seen this playbook be run before. You have hostile actors within the intelligence community who illegally leak bits and pieces of an intelligence assessment to push a fake news narrative. And that's what the CNN story was yesterday. And it's not a coincidence that it was written by the exact same CNN reporter who wrote the original story, falsely alleging that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. The American public are smarter than this, and they should know the truth. President Trump completely and totally obliterated the capability of Iran to produce a nuclear weapon, and the world is safer today because of his historic efforts.
So at that news conference in The Hague, the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth went off on whoever leaked this and the media outlets that gobbled it up. Listen to what he said.
To spin it for their own political reasons, to try to hurt President Trump or our country. They don't care what the troops think. They don't care what the world thinks. They want to spin it to try to make him look bad based on a leak. Of course, we've all seen plenty of leakers. And what do leakers do? They have agendas. And what do? Do they share the whole information or just the part that they want to introduce?
Israel's Atomic Energy Commission had a completely different assessment of what happened at Fordo and Natanz than this preliminary low confidence assessment did. It said that the site was completely destroyed and that the nuclear program's been set back for years. I don't know if you saw it, but last hour we had former IAEA weapons inspector David Albright on, who said much the same thing.
Well, Secretary Hegseth is absolutely right. This was a low confidence preliminary intelligence assessment. The assessment itself said that it was not corroborated by anyone else in the intelligence community. And it has been disputed by not just the United States, the president, the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of State, our Joint Chiefs, and our General Kane, who was incredibly successful in this mission on Saturday night. It was also disputed by both Israel and Iran. And CNN didn't care about that. The DIA themselves have now come out and said This was a preliminary report, and this CNN story got it completely wrong. But that reporter is a sheep, and she's a mouthpiece for people who don't like Donald Trump. And she only gave the White House an hour to respond. And that's, again, the same playbook we've seen the fake news media play time and time again. But this story has now been debunked widely by not just the United States, but also Iran and Israel as well.
All right, so there's the issue of reporting what was leaked, but then there's the idea of the leak itself. This was classified information. Here's what Steve Witkoff said about the leak.
Leaking
that's wild.
that type of information, whatever the information, whatever site it comes out on, is outrageous. It's treasonous. So it ought to be investigated. There's no doubt that it was obliterated. So the reporting out there that in some ways suggests that we did not achieve the objective is just completely preposterous.
So Steve Witkoff says, and he's right in the middle of all of this and all these negotiations, said that this leak should be investigated. Will it be?
I am told by the FBI the leak already is being investigated, and it absolutely should be, because this was a top secret intelligence analysis that very few people in the United States government had access to see. And so I understand the FBI and the Department of Justice are already on this, as they should be. And just to emphasize what our great special envoy Witkoff said last night, for people with common sense, everyone knows what happens when you drop 14 30,000-pound bombs perfectly on their targets. It doesn't take an intelligence analysis to understand that means complete and total destruction and obliteration. And the president of the United States, because of his decisive leadership in directing that operation on Saturday night, has now achieved a goal that the United States and the whole world has wanted to achieve for years, and that's the obliteration of the capability of the Iranian regime to possess a nuclear weapon.
So there's one other question that remains out there, Caroline, and that's what happened to the nuclear material enriched to 60% that Iran already had in its possession? It's said to be about 900 pounds worth, enough for a number of bombs. The president believes that it was buried in one of those enrichment facilities. The director of the IAEA isn't so sure. Do you have evidence that you know exactly where it is?
I can tell you the United States had no indication that that enriched uranium was moved prior to the strikes, as I also saw falsely reported. But as for what's on the ground right now, it's buried under miles and miles of rubble because of the success of these strikes on Saturday evening. So anyone saying that they know just doesn't know. And what we do know is the capability of these weapons and the success of this strike, and the fact that the United States military hit their targets precisely, perfectly, and accurately. And we know what that means.
Well, again, David Albright, who's done this for a long time, knows what he's looking at, thinks that those bombs went down near ventilation shafts where the rock would have been less resistant than if you had just hit it out in the open. And he firmly believes that those centrifuge halls have been destroyed. So we'll see. Caroline Levitt, always great to catch up with you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to
Freaking
subscribe
cool, man.
to Fox
This,
News YouTube page.
Those bunker buster bombs, I showed you guys before. It's like, it was really cool. Cool bomb, man. It's the way it just penetrates and explodes on the ground, and the power of it. It's amazing. I got this last one I'm gonna show. It's let me just bring it up here. Let's see, what is this one? Oh, this is another thing. That's another show I want to watch later. Yeah, this is Tyson de la Cruz. No, what am I doing here? Okay. Let's take a look at this real quick. Let me set it up. This will be the last for tonight. So I'm going to get to bed. Got the AC on because it was hot today. It got to 95 today. Yesterday it got to 100. And it was so hot. I had a great day yesterday. Actually, when I finished the show yesterday, I went and had early dinner because I like to eat my dinner early. Had an early dinner at 4 o'clock at Texas Roadhouse. and good food. Holy smokes, delicious salad. I like to get my steak, like 16-ounce sirloin, cooked medium, with veggies, broccoli and carrots, and I love my house salad with Italian dressing. And I have a picture of it. It seems so cool. I should put it on Discord. Like, this is what I had for dinner. Check this out. And then after that, went to go watch 28 Years Later. It was weird. The weird part about that movie was there was a lot of cock. Like a lot of ding a ling a ling a long ding a doom Tootsie Rolls flapping back and forth. Like there's a lot of like Tootsie Rolls, like literally like this, hanging, like, and it was just weird, awkward. Like, why did it have to show like that much nudity? And then like the guy's running, and all you see is like a baseball bat and some balls. Literally, it was like a baseball bat. You're like, what the fuck am I watching here? And I saw a zombie pregnancy. She gave birth. A zombie gave birth, and the baby, I guess it wasn't a zombie baby. They were thinking it was a zombie baby, but the doctor was like, no. She was saved by the placenta, the power of the placenta, and she didn't get infected. So that was awkward. I've never seen a zombie give birth, but there you go. But it's an awkward movie. It's like it's very European movie. Very European. You could feel the way they talk to and everything. It was just very European. The little boy's a good actor. He's actually a good actor. He has I forgot his name, but very good young actor. He'll be successful in the future, in the near future. But let's go to this last one. Let's see, where is it? Where is it? Give me 1 second. What was the title on it? Yeah, I think it's this one. All right, this is Tyson the Cruz from last night. I think he's gonna upload later tonight, but I probably won't be here unless it's uploading now. So let's watch.
An aggressive operation to combat violent crime.
America, we just witnessed one of the largest gang crackdowns in Texas history, and the results are absolutely staggering. Operation Showdown in Fort Worth led to 76 arrests and the seizure of 287 firearms, many equipped with illegal machine gun conversion devices, and enough fentanyl for 240,000 deadly doses. But here's what should terrify every American. 8 of those arrested were illegal immigrants with suspected ties to Tren de Aragua, a Venezuelan transnational criminal organization that has been taking over American cities. This wasn't just a local gang problem. This was a foreign criminal organization operating on American soil while our federal government did nothing to stop them.
Damn, that's crazy. That's wild. God bless America.
No longer out there peddling their guns and their drugs.
Acting U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Texas, Nancy Larson, talking about the 76 individuals arrested in the 60-day joint undercover crackdown given the name Operation Showdown.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here.
That's
Thank you so
wild.
much for rocking with me. This story perfectly shows what happens when you have real law enforcement working with federal partners who
And you
actually
see
want
the
to
catch
enforce the
that
law
there's
instead of the
many
catch and release
out
policies
there.
that we've been
Oof.
dealing with for the past 4 years. Let me break this down for you. Operation Showdown was a 60-day joint undercover operation that targeted 5 hotspot areas in Fort Worth where guns and drug trafficking were out of control. Acting U.S.
Wow.
Attorney Nancy Larson made it clear these criminals are no longer out there peddling their guns and drugs because law enforcement finally decided to do their job.
Areas of Fort Worth with high crime rates were targeted in a 2-month initiative called Operation Showdown. 76 people were arrested on firearm and drug crimes.
This wasn't just about local gang activity. Federal partners included the DEA, the ATF, and U.S. Marshals worked with Fort Worth police to identify areas with notably high violent crime rates. And what they found should alarm every American. Foreign criminal organizations operating with impunity in American cities. The numbers from Operation Showdown are absolutely mind-blowing. 287 firearms seized, many equipped with illegal machine gun conversion devices that turn regular handguns into fully automatic weapons. We're talking about
Wow.
fully automatic weapons being used by gang members in American streets.
287
That's
firearms were seized, many equipped with illegal machine gun conversion devices. Also recovered 22 kilograms of drugs, including heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl.
The amount of fentanyl alone was enough for 240,000 deadly doses. That's enough poison to kill the entire population of Fort Worth twice over. Think about this. One operation in one city seized enough fentanyl to kill 250,000 Americans. This shows the scale of the drug crisis that we're dealing with. And it's being driven by foreign criminal organizations that Biden's open border policies allowed to flourish. Speaking of a foreign criminal organization taking advantage of vulnerable Americans, there's another group being systematically
He's the
targeted
slick.
and exploited
Mr.
every
Slick.
single
He
day.
comes
And
Mr.
that is
Slick.
our seniors dealing with the Medicare system. Look, these Venezuelan gangs are sophisticated. They study American systems, find
I like
weaknesses, and exploit them for profit. That is exactly what is happening in the Medicare industry. Predatory insurance companies study Medicare's complexities, find confused seniors, and exploit them for massive commission checks. But here's the thing, just like Fort Worth needed federal partners who actually wanted to fight crime, seniors need Medicare partners who actually want to fight for them. And that's where Chapter comes in. Chapter's licensed advisors are like having your own personal task force against Medicare predators. They don't work for the insurance companies, they work for you. No hidden agendas, no commission schemes, just somebody actually fighting to get you the best coverage for the lowest cost. Here's what I love about Chapter. They treat Medicare like the serious decision that it is. They dig into your specific situation, understand your doctors and medications, then build a strategy
lot
to
of
save you money while
information there.
protecting your health. The average person saves over $1,000 per year when they have somebody actually advocating for them. Just like Operation Showdown removed threats from Fort Worth neighborhoods, Chapter removes confusion and predatory tactics from your Medicare decision. They make it simple, honest, and completely free. If you're 65 or approaching Medicare eligibility, don't let Medicare predators exploit your confusion. Get somebody fighting for you. Check out Chapter at askchapter.org/Tyson or call 270-467-0614. When everybody else is trying to take advantage of you, you need somebody who's actually on your side. Now, speaking of people who need somebody fighting for them, let me tell you about the Venezuelan gang connections that should terrify every American. Here's where the story gets really disturbing. Of the 76 people arrested, 8 were in the country illegally, and many have suspected ties to Tren de Aragua, the Venezuelan transnational criminal organization that has been terrorizing American cities.
Many of the individuals arrested in this operation are convicted violent felons. Others are in our country illegally and have suspected ties to the Venezuelan transnational criminal organization, Tren de Aragua.
Tren de Aragua isn't some local gang. This is a sophisticated international criminal organization that's taken over apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado, terrorized communities in New York City, and now we find them operating in Fort Worth, Texas. This is what happens when you have open borders and no immigration enforcement. These aren't people seeking asylum or looking for a better life. These are hardened criminals who came to America specifically to continue their criminal operations. They brought their violence, their drugs, and their weapons to American communities, and they've been operating with impunity under Biden's policies. Let's talk about what law enforcement found during these raids. Many of these 287 firearms were equipped with illegal machine gun conversion devices, small pieces of metal or plastic that convert semi-automatic handguns into fully automatic weapons. These devices are often called Glock switches or auto sears, are flooding American streets from China and being used by gang members to turn regular handguns into weapons capable of firing 1,200 rounds per minute. One firearm seized during the operation was found to have been used at a shooting just 3 hours before it was confiscated. 3 firearms were directly connected to homicides.
Federal partners worked with
That's
Fort
a lot
Worth
of
police
guns,
to
man.
identify areas across the city with noticeably high violent crime rates. A collaborative effort among DEA, ATF, U.S. Marshals, and local law enforcement.
This shows these weren't just gang members posturing with weapons. They were actively using these guns to kill people in American communities. What makes Operation Showdown so successful is the federal partnership that made it possible.
I came in, I said, we've got $300,000 extra dollars of taxpayers' money. What's the best way we can use it? Everyone immediately said, let's go to Fort Worth.
This shows what happens when you have federal prosecutors who actually want to prosecute criminals instead of protecting them. The ATF, the U.S. Marshals, and local law enforcement worked together to identify the 5 hotspot areas where violent crimes were out of control. ICE was also involved in some of these apprehensions, which means they were actually doing their job of arresting and deporting criminal illegal immigrants instead of catch and release policies we saw under the Biden administration. The impact of Operation Showdown goes far beyond the arrest numbers. As one law enforcement officer put it, there are now neighborhoods where parents can freely let their kids have an afternoon play date in their front yard or apartment complex parking lot without the fear of a drug transaction happening.
It's very apparent that there are some neighborhoods where parents can freely let their kids maybe have an afternoon play date out in that front yard or in that apartment complex parking lot or community area without fear that a drug transaction is transpiring just a few parking stalls away.
This is what real public safety looks like when you remove violent gang members, illegal weapons, and massive quantities of drugs from neighborhoods. Families can actually live normal lives without fear. But the timing of this announcement is also significant. It came on the heels of a violent weekend in Fort Worth where 5 people were killed in 4 separate unrelated shootings. This shows that even with successful operations like this, there's still massive work to be done.
This announcement comes on the heels of a violent weekend in Fort Worth. 5 people were killed in 4 separate unrelated shootings this last Sunday.
Granted, one loss of life is too many. But unfortunately, whenever those things happen, I can tell you the Fort Worth Police Department is dedicated to continue the work to prevent those from occurring in the future.
America, Operation Showdown proves what we've been saying all along. When law enforcement is allowed to do their job and has federal support, they can make communities safer. 76 criminals off the streets, 287 weapons seized, and enough fentanyl for 240,000 deadly doses removed from circulation. But what should really concern us is the Venezuelan gang connection. 8 illegal immigrants with ties to Tren de Aragua were operating in Fort Worth, bringing international criminal organizations to American soil. This is a direct result of Biden's open border policy that allowed foreign criminal organizations to establish operations in our cities. The good news is that these criminals will face real consequences. Their trials are scheduled to begin at the end of the summer or early fall. And with federal charges, they're looking at serious prison time instead of the revolving door justice we've seen in other cities. This operation also shows what's possible when federal agencies work together instead of being hamstrung by political correctness. The DEA, ATF, U.S. Marshals, ICE, and local law enforcement coordinated to target the most dangerous criminals in specific geographical areas. Fort Worth police are dedicated to continue this work, and with Trump coming back into office, they'll have federal support that actually wants to fight crime instead of enabling it. Every American should be asking, if Fort Worth can do this, why can't every other major city? The answer is simple: political will. When you have leaders who want to fight crime instead of coddle criminals, operations like this can become possible. I'll keep you updated as this case goes to trial. And remember, this is what happens when law enforcement is allowed to enforce the law. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Great program. Great friend. He's a good friend of mine. Actually, he's a good. He talks well, and I like the way he reports and the way he puts his show together. He's a good friend. He's a good friend. That's what I gotta say. He's a good friend, and looking forward to more future collaborations with him here on My Mind Over Your Matter. Right now, our audience is pretty quiet. You know, it's very, very, very low audience, but it's going to change. It will change. It will. It will. I just have to be more consistent here and continue doing day and night shows and just keep pushing. Gotta keep pushing, pushing, and those who find me will come and they'll be here and they'll be very supportive. But I'm getting tired. I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired. It's 10:01. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I did 2 hours already, so those who are watching me, thank you very much. Those who are rewatching, thank you also very much. Like Tyson says, hit the like button and then subscribe and all that stuff and leave a comment and oh my goodness, there's so much. Yeah, you guys gotta leave comments. You have to leave comments, leave a like. You know, what did you like about the show? What did you not like about the show? Keep it civil. And yeah. Well, I want to wish everybody a good morning, good afternoon, and a good night. And I'll definitely catch everyone on the flip side. And I'll be on tomorrow. I'm going to try to come on early. I think I'm going to go have breakfast. I'm debating if I should make breakfast or if I should go and eat breakfast. It's like one of those treat yourself moments. I say that all the time. Treat yourself. Yeah, it's a treat yourself moment to go, Thursday and have a good breakfast to start off the day, and then maybe come on here and do a show and talk about maybe the news of what happened overnight and watch some more news, or if Tyson comes up with a video, we can watch that tomorrow too, because Tyson's been every day he puts up a video. Like, I asked him, I go, dude, can I play your videos on my show so I could talk about it and stuff. If I need to talk about it, I'll talk about it. I know about the drug stuff, so I'm not talking too much about it because it's something that's a plague in this country. And thank you, and fuck you, Joe Biden, because it's just the headache that he let in, and now we have to get rid of it, and it's costing a lot of money, and it's putting a lot of lives on the line for no reason but self. Like these Democrats, all they think about is themselves and their vote, and they want to stay in power, and they'll cheat and steal to stay in power. So that's very dangerous. But I'm out of here. I had a good night, and it was very exhausting. I'm exhausted. I'm yawning. Listen to me. But we'll talk more tomorrow, and I'll probably be feeling better tomorrow. I'm hoping so. Have a good night, everyone, and yeah, it'll be good. I think things will get better, and more people will come down the line. That's what I hope. If not, the future people, thank you for watching. You guys are awesome. Peace.